3 keys that you need to know in order to understand fast spoken French. In this podcast episode, I'm going to explain you the 3 main key areas that you need to focus on in order to understand French people that speak really, really fast. Make sure you stay till the end of this episode because the 3rd key is the most important. Okay, so before I dive into the main topic of this podcast, I'm going to introduce myself because maybe you don't even know me yet. My name is Romeo. I'm the creator of the podcast French in 5 Minutes. It's a series of short stories in slow French in which I tell you things that happened in my life. I talk about news that happened in France, and I talk about a lot of stuff just to make you accommodate more to the French language. And maybe you don't already know it, but I'm a native French speaker. I was born in France, I was raised in France also, and I love foreign languages. So I've learned English at school, and I'm currently learning Spanish, and I'm starting Japanese. It's quite difficult to learn Japanese, but still. I love languages in general. And that's why I created French in 5 Minutes. It's to help you guys to learn my language, that is French. So I really, really love French language. And every time I speak French with my friends, I've noticed that that's true. Yeah, we speak quite fast. But we have no problem to understand each other because it's our mother tongue. And whenever there is a foreigner, like a foreigner student or a friend of ours that is a foreigner that tries to intervene in the conversation, he or she always feels dumped during our conversation because we use quite a lot of words that they don't even understand. And maybe that's your case as well. And in that podcast, I'm going to introduce you to 3 keys that you really need to understand when it comes to fast spoken French. If you know these 3 keys, it will be way easier for you to focus on the right problems that you currently have. Because the first key says that it's not only a matter of speed. A lot of people think that it's only a matter of speed. When I ask in Facebook groups, for instance, what are your biggest problems with the French language? People always answer, French people speak so fast that I don't understand everything. But let's imagine that. If it was only a matter of speed, it would be enough to spend thousands of hours listening to audios in a normal pace, right? Because it's fairly easy to accommodate to a foreign language speed. So if you've already spent thousands of hours listening to audios in French, and if you still have a lot of difficulty understanding French people when they speak at normal pace, it means that it's not only a matter of speed. And that's the first key that I want you to understand. I want you to understand that it's not only a matter of speed. And if you think that, the thing is that you are only going to focus on speed. So if it's not only a matter of speed, what is the real problem? So here comes the second key. Actually, the second key is that you need to know French slang and expressions. Because here in France or in a lot of francophone countries, when people speak, they use quite a lot of slang words and a lot of expressions. Often people think that slang words in French language are only used by kids in the streets, but it's not always true. You can hear a lot of slang words in TV show, radio, podcast, radio show, YouTube videos, or even in the street. Not only youngsters, but you can hear it from people that are a bit older, and it's normal to use slang words because they are not always familiar or inappropriate. And we also use a lot of expressions. And if you don't know the main slang words and expressions that we use in French, for instance, you may have a lot of trouble understanding naturally spoken French. So if you've watched a TV series in French recently, and if you felt a bit lost or dumped during the series, it's probably due to a lack of knowledge in slang words, because if you don't understand a word in the middle of the phrase, even though you have the context, the thing is that if it's a slang word, even with the context, you may have a lot of trouble translating it. So that's why you need to know slang words. That's why you need to know expressions in French. So that's the second key that you really need to have in mind in order to understand fast-spoken French. So before I dive into the third key, if you like that kind of content, if you like to receive tips and hacks to learn French easier and faster, and if you want to encourage me to do more podcasts like this one, do not hesitate to give me a review about that podcast episode or about the French in 5 Minutes series, because it will show me that you really like that kind of content. Don't hesitate as well to download the episode. It really helps the podcast to get known better and have more visibility in the internet. So with that being said, let's dive into the third key that you need to know in order to be able to understand fast-spoken French. So here the third key. You need to know the connections and reductions in French. So now you may be like, what is a connection or a reduction in French? So I'm going to give you an example just to make you guess what it is. Listen to this sentence carefully. Oh, mais peut-être que cela n'était pas le cas. Which I can translate by, oh, maybe it wasn't the case. So as you can see, I said that phrase in French, but I said it really slowly and in not a natural way. If you speak like that in the street, people will look at you and think that you're crazy or something. But now I'm going to say the exact same phrase in a naturally spoken French, and listen carefully because there are a lot of differences. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était pas le cas. See what's the difference? I'm going to say it again. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était pas le cas. So this is how French people speak when they speak naturally. Instead of pronouncing each syllables, each words, they make connections and they make reductions. Connections, you can translate it in French by liaison, une liaison, faire une liaison. So in that example, I have, for instance, peut-être, which I pronounce t'être. And I've also mixed que c'était. I said que c'était. Que c'était. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était. And when I said pas le cas, I said pas le cas. Pas le cas. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était pas le cas. Oh, mais peut-être que c'était pas le cas. So This is why, in my opinion, a lot of people have a lot of problems understanding naturally spoken French. It's due, of course, to a matter of speed, but not only. It is speed, slang words and expressions, and also connections and reductions. So if you have these three keys in mind, if you focus not only on speed, but if you try, if you start learning slang words, expressions, and if you try to understand why we make liaison, why we make reduction, if you have these three keys in mind, you will be able to understand naturally spoken French, and you will never be like, oh, French people speak too fast for me, because you will have everything in order to understand French people. So maybe now you're like, oh, Romeo, thank you for the advice, it's so cool. But how do I know when French people make liaison? And how do I know reduction? And how do I know the most important slang words and expressions? So in order for you to know all that, I created an online course that I called 27 Rules to Understand Fast Spoken French. The idea of the course is to teach you the most important rules of spoken French. During the course, I will explain you why I say, for instance, t'être instead of peut-être. I will also explain you why I say pas le cas instead of pas le cas. So, because actually you have quite a lot of rules that explain all that. French people, we use these rules without even realizing it. But for foreigners, since it's not their mother tongue, these rules are not really natural. People don't know these rules. So that's why I made a recap of the most important rules. So, of course, you will have some exceptions, but the rules that you will be taught in that course are the most important, and they will help you understand really how fast spoken French works. So if you want to know more about this course, you can check the link which is in the description of that podcast episode, or you can simply type in your search bar www.frenchin5minutes.com/27rules. If you do that, you will have access to the course, and if you want to know more about it, it is the best thing to do right now. And in order to make that course the most effective possible, I also included the 21st episode of French in 5 minutes in premium version. They are already included in the course. So you may be wondering, what is French in 5 minutes premium? Actually, French in 5 minutes premium, it is the exact same thing as French in 5 minutes classic, but in premium you have slow version and fast version. So the idea here is to make you accommodate more easily to naturally spoken French. So since you have the slow version and the fast version, it will be easier for you to understand both versions. And moreover, I also explain you in French in 5 minutes premium everything about liaison and reductions. For instance, whenever I say a phrase in a naturally spoken way, I explain you exactly why and when I make the liaison and reductions. So that way you will be able to apply directly everything that you will learn in the course 27 rules to understand fast spoken French in real life, because you will have the course in one hand and also the 21st episodes of French in 5 minutes premium in order to train directly. So once again, if you want to know more about the course, you can click the link in the description of that episode, or you can simply go to my website www.frenchin5minutes.com/27rules. So I've just launched the course, so you still have a lot of places available. The course won't be available for a very long time, so probably in a few days or maybe next week, I will close the subscriptions to the course, and the course will no longer be available on the internet. So if you want to know more about it, you can do what I said. You can go in the description or simply type www.frenchin5minutes.com/27rules. And see you later, probably for the beginning of the course. Bye bye, salut, au revoir.